God's chosen ones. Beloved chosen one, stop scrolling. Something holy is happening right now. Heaven has pressed pause on the noise around you just to get this word to you. You did not stumble here by accident. Your spirit was drawn, pulled, summoned, because your name, your actual name, was spoken in heaven. The angels have been released. Yes, you heard that right. Released, assigned, activated, and guess what? Your name was called in that release. You are the reason a dispatch from the throne room just shook the heavens. Because your mission on earth cannot be delayed any longer. You've reached the moment that prophets dream of and that demons dread. The scroll of your destiny is unfolding, and heaven has just made it known in the spiritual realm. You are next. This is not for the crowd. This is not for the casual believer. This is for the marked ones, the warriors in waiting, the crowned but hidden. And if your heart is beating faster right now, if your spirit is leaping within you, it's because something in you remembers. You remember being chosen. You remember being different. You remember the call, even if you tried to forget. Let me make this clear. You are not overlooked. Heaven has not ignored you. God has not misplaced your purpose. In fact, you've just been identified publicly in the spirit realm, and what happens next is not going to make sense in the natural. Chosen one. Angels don't move without a reason, and they don't move without a name. Your name was the reason. Do you know what that means? It means heaven trusts you. It means your assignment is active. It means you are carrying something too powerful to stay hidden any longer. Listen carefully. The attack wasn't random. The isolation wasn't accidental. The delay wasn't punishment. The tears, the betrayal, the warfare, they were all proof that hell knew your name before you did. But now, heaven is saying it out loud. And when heaven calls your name, the earth must align. Let this settle into your soul. You are not like the rest. You have never fit in because you were not created to blend in. Your difference is divine. Your silence has been strategic. Your pain has been preparation. And now, the angels have heard the order. Go to them. Walk with them. War for them. Lift them. Yes, lift you. Because the weight you've carried alone is the exact proof that God has called you out. Not just called you out, but called you up. It's time to rise. It's time to remember who you are. Not just a child of God, but a chosen one, a sent one, a breaker of chains, a warrior who smiles in silence because you've seen what's coming. You know now, you've been activated. Heaven didn't whisper this, heaven announced it. In front of angels, demons, principalities, and watchers. There is no going back. The shift has happened. The spiritual traffic around your life is not ordinary. It's because of the angelic activity now orbiting your steps. God didn't wait for you to be perfect. He waited for you to be ready. And even if you feel unsure, even if you feel unworthy, He's still releasing angels because of your name. Not because of your strength, because of your surrender. Chosen one, lean in. This is your confirmation. You were asking for it. You said, God, show me a sign. You asked Him to speak. And now He is shouting through this very message. Your name was called. Psalm 34:7 says, The angel of the Lord encamps around those who fear Him and delivers them. Warring angels have drawn swords. Messenger angels are carrying scrolls. Breaker angels are clearing paths. All of heaven has shifted toward you. Now it's your turn to shift. It's time to rise in obedience, to speak differently, to walk like you're crowned, to live like you're sent. Don't you dare retreat. Don't you dare second-guess yourself. Don't you let fear talk you out of a divine appointment. You've suffered long enough. You've waited quietly. You've watched others go ahead of you. But now, you are the one heaven is announcing. You are the name on the scroll, the name written in the wind, the name that demons recognized before your mouth could pronounce purpose. You carry a heavenly mark that cannot be removed. And if this word is speaking directly to your soul, I want you to do something bold. Comment 777 below as a prophetic act of agreement. It's not just a number, it's a signal in the spirit. It's you saying, I receive this, I claim this, I walk in this. And don't stop there. Like, share, and subscribe right now. Why? Because there are others like you who have been waiting for their moment. And maybe your share will be the trumpet that wakes another chosen one up. Maybe your obedience to engage is the chain breaker for someone else's prison. Hit the subscribe button right now, because this is just the beginning. More words are coming, more prophetic insight, more divine revelations. This is not a motivational message. This is a divine download. And what's being revealed to you in this season cannot be found in shallow waters. God is raising a remnant. You are part of that. The misfits, the broken, the hidden ones, the bowed-down warriors who are about to rise with fire in their eyes and royalty in their steps. You are not behind. You are right on time. You are not forgotten. You are foretold. So, again, like this, share this, comment 777 below, and subscribe. Stay connected, because what's being released to you in the next chapters, it will unlock doors, break curses, and launch you into your assignment. The angels have been released, and your name was called. This is not a coincidence. You didn't just land here by luck or by algorithm. The algorithm didn't send you. Heaven did. This is not random. This is revelation. Everything that brought you to this moment, the delays, the detours, the disappointments was actually divine design. Nothing about your life has been accidental. God has been orchestrating every step, every silence, every season to bring you into this awakening. Listen closely. Your arrival here is a supernatural appointment. Right now, something eternal is intersecting with something earthly. Destiny is colliding with your obedience. This moment was already written into your timeline long before you ever had language for it. And now, you're standing on holy ground. You've been praying for confirmation, crying out for clarity, whispering questions in the dark, and heaven has answered by pulling you into this divine interruption. The veil is thinning. The atmosphere around you is shifting. There is something sacred swirling. Can you feel it? That stirring in your spirit is not anxiety. It's activation. There is something you need to understand. God doesn't waste divine dispatch on the uncalled. Angels are not released for entertainment. They are sent to war, to protect, to guard, to accelerate. And the reason they've been released now is because your name carries weight. You are stepping into something you were born for, something only you can carry, and the enemy knows it. That's why the warfare increased. That's why relationships crumbled. That's why your sleep was stolen and your peace was attacked. Because darkness could sense that your time was near. You've been under surveillance, not because you're weak, but because you're rising. Hell doesn't fight what doesn't threaten it. The increase in pressure was not punishment, it was prophecy. Isaiah 46:10 says, I make known the end from the beginning, from ancient times, what is still to come. I say, my purpose will stand, and I will do all that I please. God already saw your arrival in this hour. He already planned your survival through the storms, and He already marked your unveiling today as the beginning of your public manifestation. You are not late. You are not unqualified. You are not forgotten. There's a reason you never fit in. A reason they didn't invite you. A reason it didn't work out. Because you weren't meant to be blended. You were meant to be bold, set apart, different, prophetic. The places that broke you were also the places that built you. And every detour was designed to expose your true destination. What looked like rejection was actually redirection. The betrayal was divine strategy. Even the closed doors were sacred shields. If you had been embraced by the wrong crowd, you would have forfeited your calling. If you had settled in comfort, you would have missed your crown. You've been in a spiritual holding pattern, waiting for clearance to take off. And now, heaven is saying, go. The wait is over. The time is now. The signal has been sent. The angels have been released. And what you're about to experience will not make natural sense. 1 Corinthians 2:9 says, what no eye has seen, what no ear has heard, and what no human mind has conceived, the things God has prepared for those who love Him. This is that moment, the one that was prepared but hidden, the one that was promised but delayed, the one that requires faith, not logic. You don't need to understand it. You just need to obey. You are not being called into comfort, you are being called into purpose. This is a divine summons. Not everyone will see it. Not everyone will affirm it. But your obedience will become the evidence. When you walk forward, things will start to break open. The waters will part, the barriers will crumble. Because this is not your doing, it's divine timing. The Holy Spirit is not calling the qualified, He is qualifying the called. And you, chosen one, are called. You've carried this thing for too long to doubt it now. You've felt the fire too often to ignore it anymore. The nudges, the dreams, the random scriptures, none of it was random. Heaven has been shouting in whispers, waiting for you to answer. This isn't just about your breakthrough. This is about your bloodline. Your obedience is about to shift the very timeline of your family. What stopped others will stop with you. What defeated them will be defeated by you. Your yes will echo through generations. Psalm 139:16 says, your eyes saw my unformed body. All the days ordained for me were written in your book before one of them came to be. That means your today was written before you even breathed. That tug you feel in your spirit right now, that's eternity, calling you back into alignment. You are not just walking into destiny, you are awakening to what already belonged to you. So do not dismiss this moment. Don't rationalize it. Don't overthink it. This is holy ground. Every part of you that feels unworthy, unusable, unprepared, God already accounted for it. His grace covers it. His glory fills it. And His angels are now moving because you finally said yes in your heart. Chosen one, you are not here by chance. You are standing at the intersection of divine purpose and prophetic timing, and heaven has chosen this exact moment to remind you your name is known in the highest realm, marked since the beginning, before your first breath, before your first cry, before your name was ever written on a birth certificate. Heaven had already written your name in glory. Your assignment didn't start the day you were born. It started the moment God imagined you. You are not an afterthought. You are a divine strategy wrapped in human skin. It is written in Jeremiah 1, Woo, before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. I appointed you as a prophet to the nations. Let that truth crash through every lie the enemy tried to feed you. You weren't created for confusion. You weren't born to blend in. You were formed with fire, called with clarity, appointed with purpose. You've been marked since the beginning. This is why you've always felt different. Why the crowd never fully understood you. Why the atmosphere changes when you walk into a room. Because your spirit is ancient, and your assignment is heavy. There are blueprints in heaven with your name on them, scrolls sealed for the right moment. And now, they're opening. You weren't rejected. You were hidden, covered, protected from premature exposure. You were set apart, not to be isolated, but to be preserved. God was guarding what hell couldn't touch, but desperately wanted to destroy. And yet, look at you, still standing, still breathing, still believing, still carrying fire in your bones. Even when the flame felt small, Scriptura declares, For you created my inmost being, you knit me together in my mother's womb. Psalm 139. Shazan, you are not a rough draft. You are not a mistake. You were woven. God didn't just build you, He crafted you. With intention, with foresight, with spiritual precision. This is why the attacks began before you even knew how to fight back. Why the warfare started before you had language to explain it. Because you were born a threat, a disruptor of darkness, a walking contradiction to the plans of the enemy. Don't you see it now? The patterns, the strange timing, the relentless resistance. It's because your life carries weight. Because you are not just living, you're awakening others without even realizing it. You're stirring realms when you speak. You're shifting atmospheres just by showing up. That's not charisma. That's calling. That's not coincidence. That's consecration. There is something inside you that hell fears deeply. Because what you carry was not given by man. It was birthed in heaven, sealed by fire, and it cannot be revoked, undone, or silenced, as Romans 11:29 reminds us. For God's gifts and His call are irrevocable. No matter how far you've wandered, no matter who doubted you, no matter what you've lost, you are still called, still chosen, still appointed, still carrying something the earth desperately needs. Chosen one. You have to stop looking around for permission. Stop waiting for people to see what God already revealed. You are not waiting on favor. Favor is waiting on your obedience. The clock in heaven has moved. The gate is open. The moment has come, and you must step into it, not when you feel ready, but because you are already marked. The resistance you're feeling right now, that's not confusion. That's transition. You are shedding old garments, outgrowing old cycles, moving beyond what used to contain you. It's uncomfortable because it's supernatural. Your spirit knows this isn't just another message. This is a mirror, a confirmation, a prophetic awakening. You've always known you were different. This is the moment heaven confirms it publicly. The word says in Isaiah 60, Arise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord rises upon you. Yes, you, not the version of you that's polished, not the version others tried to shape, But the real you, the raw, weary, anointed version that's been crying in the night and rising in the morning anyway. This is the glory rising. This is the veil lifting. This is what your warfare was preparing you for. You didn't survive for no reason. You didn't endure all that pain just to go back to hiding. You were being shaped for a mantle that only fits you. And now, that mantle is falling. Don't run from it. Don't downplay it. Don't dismiss it. You are heaven's strategy in human form. A threat to complacency, a disruptor of curses, a carrier of light. A living scroll now being unsealed. If you feel this word piercing your soul, if something in you knows this is the moment you've been waiting for, type 333 in the comments right now. Type it boldly, prophetically, publicly. Why? 333. Because Jeremiah 33:3 says, "Call to me, and I will answer you, and tell you great and unsearchable things you do not know." This number is a prophetic signal that your spiritual phone line is open. That revelation is about to flow, that God is not hiding anymore. He's revealing not just who He is, but who you are in Him. So, type 333 now, as a declaration, as a response, as a spiritual trigger. Let heaven know. You hear? You see? You're ready. You have been marked since the beginning, and now, the beginning is about to become a manifestation. The weight you carry is proof. Chosen one. You've wondered why the load has been so heavy. Why life hasn't let up. Why you always seem to be the one carrying the burden for everyone else. The emotional anchor. The secret intercessor. The one who holds things together when others collapse. You've cried silent tears no one saw. You've whispered prayers you didn't have the words for. You've walked through shadows with no map, no guide, and no applause. Let me tell you the truth. The enemy never wanted you to hear. The weight is not punishment, it's prophecy. The weight is proof of what's in you, proof of what's on you, proof of what's coming through you. If you were ordinary, you wouldn't have attracted extraordinary resistance. If your calling was small, your warfare would be too. But when heaven crowns a person, hell reacts. And it has reacted violently to your existence, not because of what you've done, but because of what you carry. Isaiah 10:27 says, "In that day, their burden will be lifted from your shoulders, their yoke from your neck. The yoke will be broken because you have grown so fat." The burden isn't proof of abandonment. It's the byproduct of being anointed. What you feel pressing on your shoulders is not random stress, it's spiritual sensitivity. You are not just carrying your own life. You've been carrying the weight of legacies, of lineages, of future generations. There are things you've endured so that those who come after you won't have to. You're not just breaking through, you're breaking open. Tearing holes through spiritual barriers that tried to cap your bloodline for centuries. You've been the one in the trenches. The one who couldn't explain why life felt like warfare. The one who sensed things before they happened. The one who felt shifts no one else could see. That's not weakness. That's wisdom. That's warfare. That's weight. God doesn't give weight to the weak. He gives it to the willing. He allows burden on the backs of those who've been called to carry what others dropped. And yes, it's been lonely. Yes, it's been exhausting. But chosen one, you're not just enduring, you're qualifying. Every tear has been divine documentation. Every sleepless night, heaven was watching. You have not been forgotten in the heaviness. You have been trusted with it. Psalm 126, 5 declares, "Those who sow with tears will reap with songs of joy." Every tear was a seed, and seeds do not die. Seeds transform. Seeds produce. You've been weeping over what others danced through. You've been fasting while others feasted. You've been walking in reverence while others played with fire. And now, the shift is coming, not because you earned it, but because you've endured. You carry what others can't comprehend. That's why you've felt misunderstood. That's why explanations never seemed enough. Your spirit knows truths your mouth doesn't always know how to say. There's a groan in your soul that only heaven interprets. You were wired for spiritual weight. But now listen. God is not just letting you carry it. He is teaching you to walk in authority with it. You are not meant to be crushed under the glory you carry. You are meant to move with it. Speak with it. Live with it. This weight is not here to destroy you. It is here to reveal you. Romans 8:18 says, "I consider that our present sufferings are not worth comparing with the glory that will be revealed in us." The suffering has been severe. Yes, but the glory will be greater. This is not just theology. This is reality. You didn't survive all that pain just to sit in silence. You didn't walk through fire just to blend into the ashes. You are being shaped into something heavy, not in burden, but in glory. The glory on your life will not be light. It will shift rooms. It will alter atmospheres. It will cause spiritual tremors. And yes, it will offend those who are more comfortable with your weakness than your strength. But that's not your concern. Your responsibility is to carry what heaven gave you, no matter who doesn't understand it. 1 Peter 4:12-13 reminds us, "Dear friends, do not be surprised at the fiery ordeal that has come on you to test you, but rejoice inasmuch as you participate in the sufferings of Christ, so that you may be overjoyed when his glory is revealed." You are not weak. You are weighted, and the weight you carry is not your enemy, it's your evidence. Proof that heaven has deposited something eternal inside of you. Proof that God doesn't just trust you with platforms, he trusts you with pain. Chosen one, don't shrink. Don't apologize for the heaviness. Don't pretend the journey has been easy. It hasn't, but it's been worth it. Because through it all, you've been becoming unshakable, becoming unbreakable, becoming exactly who you were born to be. The weight is not the end of your story, it's the beginning of your reveal. Your name shakes the kingdom of hell. Chosen one, you have no idea how loud your name is in the spirit realm. When heaven speaks it, angels move, but when hell hears it, demons tremble. Your name has become a thunderclap in the underworld, a signal that divine power is walking the earth in flesh and obedience. You see yourself as weary, overlooked, fragile, but hell sees you as dangerous, as disruptive, as a problem, because every time you say yes to God, realms shift. Every time you whisper his name in the dark, light bursts through dimensions. You don't just survive, you shatter spiritual cycles. You don't just pray, you wage war. Luke 10:19 puts it this way, "I have given you authority to trample on snakes and scorpions and to overcome all the power of the enemy. Nothing will harm you." That is not symbolic, it is a legal decree. You have been granted spiritual authority. And when you walk in it, hell loses ground. You may not have a stage, but your obedience speaks in boardrooms. You may not have a title, but your presence causes demonic disruption. You are not small, you are stealth, hidden by heaven. armed with fire, backed by angels. There is a reason the warfare escalated the moment you started waking up. The enemy knows that a sleeping chosen one is tolerable, but an awakened one is unstoppable. Once you recognize who you are, nothing on earth or beneath it can silence you again. Isaiah 54:17 says, "No weapon forged against you will prevail, and you will refute every tongue that accuses you." This is the heritage of the servants of the Lord. That's your heritage. Not just protection from harm, but divine power to reverse accusations. God didn't just give you immunity, He gave you authority. That's why hell reacts. That's why attacks feel personal. Because you're not just a believer, you're a blood-marked gatekeeper of heaven's agenda. And chosen one. Your name is not common in the realm of the Spirit. When it is spoken in heaven, it echoes like a declaration. When it's mentioned in hell, it sends systems into panic, not because you've arrived, but because of what you carry. The scroll within you, the fire sealed in your bones, the calling that cannot be cloned. You've been trying to stay low, trying not to stir attention. But even in silence, your presence is loud in the Spirit. You walk into rooms and atmospheres, tremble not because of who sees you, but because of what follows you. Angels flank your steps. Glory rests on your words. Light bleeds from your obedience. Acts 19:15 says, "One day the evil spirit answered them, 'Jesus, I know, and Paul I know about, but who are you?'" You say, that verse wasn't just about Paul. That verse is about you. Hell knows names. It recognizes authority. It categorizes threats. And your name is not in the category of casual believers. It's in the category of those who make demons flee. This is not arrogance. This is spiritual awareness. It's time you stop shrinking. Time you stop hiding. Time you stop apologizing for carrying glory. You didn't give yourself this weight. You didn't choose this assignment. Heaven chose it. And heaven doesn't make mistakes. The more you awaken, the more hell will resist, but the more heaven will back you. Psalm 18:39 declares, "You armed me with strength for battle. You humbled my adversaries before me." The battle isn't evidence of abandonment, it's confirmation of arrival. God has not left you exposed. He has armed you, not just with scripture, but with strategy, with discernment, with divine backing. You're not walking into rooms empty-handed. You're walking in with a sword, a voice, a mantle. So stop explaining your calling to people who weren't in the room when heaven spoke your name. Stop defending your fire to those who've never burned. You were called to confuse darkness, not to make it comfortable. You've been praying for clarity. God is giving it. You've been asking for confirmation. This is it. You are not under attack because you're doing something wrong. You're under attack because you're doing exactly what you were born for. When you walk in authority, hell has no rebuttal. The spirits that once tormented you now scatter when you pray. The places you used to battle in silence now tremble when your foot touches the ground. This is who you are. A weapon, a voice, a shift. So don't hold back now. Don't disconnect. What's coming next in this prophetic flow is going to unlock deeper dimensions in you. This is not just about encouragement, it's about equipping, about building you into the bold, fiery, holy warrior you were meant to become. If you haven't yet, subscribe now. Stay connected. There is more coming. This is a training ground for those God is about to send into nations, into families, into boardrooms, into broken systems. Heaven is preparing you, not for applause, not for comfort, but for impact. Your name shakes the kingdom of hell, and the shaking has only just begun. Angels assigned to walk with you, chosen one. Listen with your spirit. You are not walking alone. You never have. Even when you felt abandoned by people, ignored by systems, rejected by circles, you were never without covering, because heaven has assigned angels to your path. Not imaginary, not putic, real beings, real swords, real presence. Hebrews 1:14 says, "Are not all angels ministering spirits sent to serve those who will inherit salvation?" You are one of those, marked, watched, surrounded. From the moment you said yes to the call, even when it was quiet, even when it was just a whisper inside, your pain angels were sent. And they didn't just come to observe. They came to war, to clear your path, to lift you when your knees buckled, to guard your destiny when you didn't have language for it. There are angelic assignments over your life right now, not just around you, but with you. You don't need to feel it to believe it. You need to know it because the Word declares it. The spiritual realm is not waiting on your feelings, it's responding to your faith. Psalm 91. Once declares, "For he will command his angels concerning you, to guard you in all your ways." Not just some ways, all your ways. That includes the messy ways, the detoured ways, the confused ways. God didn't remove the angels when you stumbled. He didn't recall them when you doubted. His command stands, and when God commands, no demon can override it. You're still alive because heaven covered you. That accident you escaped. That decision you almost made. That moment you can't even explain why you were spared. Angels were at work. Chosen one. These are not passive companions. These are warriors, breakers, messengers, sent by divine decree to make sure you arrive at the place God ordained. And now, their activity around you is increasing. Why? Because your timeline is accelerating. What once took years will now happen suddenly, because heaven is clearing a runway for you, and angels are removing spiritual debris from your path. Daniel 12:13 says, "Then he continued, 'Do not be afraid, Daniel. Since the first day, your words were heard, and I have come in response to them. But the prince of the Persian kingdom resisted me. Then Michael, one of the chief princes, came to help me.'" Andrew, did you catch that? Sometimes your prayers don't bring immediate results, not because God is ignoring you, but because angels are battling in the unseen, fighting resistance, warring over territory, piercing through opposition to deliver what belongs to you. This is happening around you right now. There is movement in the air, and if your spirit feels it, if something in you knows that things are shifting, even though nothing outside looks different, then you're discerning the angelic. They've been released, and they're walking with you into uncharted territories. There is nothing passive about your life. Every step is under surveillance. Every breath is a signal to heaven that you're still standing, still moving, still pressing through shadows and silence. That's why God didn't just send angels to watch. He sent them to walk with you. Psalm 34:7 says, "The angel of the Lord encamps around those who fear him and delivers them." This means there is a camp of protection around your obedience, around your repentance, around your worship. Even when you feel like you're doing it wrong, your reverence has attracted a divine army. You've been asking, God, why do I feel so watched? It's because you are, but not just by people, not just by spirits, by angels, assigned, positioned, aligned, some to guide, some to shield, some to war, some to speak. You're not crazy. That protection you feel when you should be breaking down that peace in the middle of chaos, that's not imagination. That's assistance, divine help, invisible hands steadying your spirit. You are walking with a heavenly escort. 2 Kings 6:17 reveals this mystery. And Elisha prayed, "Open his eyes, Lord, so that he may see." Then the Lord opened the servant's eyes, and he looked and saw the hills full of horses and chariots of fire all around Elisha. That was then. But this is you now, surrounded, guarded, chosen. So, don't let fear lie to you. Don't let delay distract you. Don't let silence convince you that nothing is happening. There is angelic motion, even when there is earthly stillness. Things are moving because you're being faithful. The warfare is increasing because the veil is thinning. And if this word has struck your heart, if it has made your soul feel known, protected, awakened, comment 777 below. Not because it's tradition, but because it's prophetic agreement. A mark in the digital realm that says, I recognize the angels. I receive the assignment. I walk in the presence of glory. Heaven is moving. The angels are walking with you. And you, chosen one, are not alone. Delay is not denial. You've been asking if God forgot. You've been checking the clock of heaven, wondering when it would finally be your time. You've questioned whether the promises spoken over your life were real or just hopeful imagination. You've seen others pass you, doors open for them, blessings pour on people who didn't pray as hard, didn't wait as long, didn't carry what you carried. And yet still, you waited, not because you lacked options, but because your spirit refused to move without a green light from above. You felt the tension, part of you desperate to move, the other part anchored in obedience. This is not a weakness. It's a sign of spiritual maturity. You see, delay is not God's rejection. It is heaven's strategy. When God delays, it's never wasted time. It's refining time. He's not just preparing the blessing for you, He's preparing you for the blessing. What's coming carries weight, and it cannot be placed in hands that are still healing from wounds that haven't been surrendered. You have not been punished by delay, you've been positioned. Chosen one. There are things God is protecting you from. Timing is not about convenience. It's about alignment. Some doors would have crushed you if they had opened earlier. Some relationships would have derailed you if you entered them too soon. Some platforms would have exposed an unprocessed version of you that wasn't ready for the spotlight. And now you see it. The people who rushed ahead are now breaking. The ones who ran without covering are now stuck in rooms they were never built for. But you waited, even when it didn't make sense. Even when silence felt like abandonment. You didn't move without God. And that has preserved your power. Ecclesiastes 3:1 says, there is a time for everything, and a season for every activity under the heavens. That time for you is shifting now. Something in the atmosphere has changed. The spiritual silence that used to blanket your path is starting to lift. The air feels different. The pressure is building, because what felt like nothing was actually formation. While you were questioning God, He was forming oil inside of you. Oil that doesn't break under pressure. Oil that doesn't leak under criticism. The anointing you're carrying now is not loud, but it's heavy. The delay matured you. It stripped away your need for validation. It weaned you from applause. It forced you to find identity in the stillness. And now, you don't need the spotlight. You carry substance. You don't crave a platform. You walk with presence. People will think you came out of nowhere. They'll ask, when did this happen? How did they rise so fast? But they didn't see the years in the shadows. They didn't see the nights you warred in silence. They didn't see the prayers that had no audience. And that's fine, because God did. The silence was not absence, it was shaping. The waiting wasn't wasted, it was preparation. You are no longer the version of you that entered the wilderness. That person was full of potential, but the version walking out now, refined by fire, chosen by delay, armed with stillness. You learned how to walk with God when no one was clapping. You learned how to stay planted when nothing was blooming, and that is rare. Chosen one, if you had moved too soon, the weight of your calling might have crushed you, but now, because you waited, you will carry it with grace. You will speak, and chains will break. You will walk, and darkness will scatter. Not because of hype, but because of hiddenness. The fruit is about to show, but the root system is what's impressive. That's what the delay did. It grew roots deep beneath the surface. It broke pride. It cultivated humility. It sealed conviction. So now, when the doors open, and they will, you won't be blown away by the wind. You'll be anchored, ready, trusted. Do not despise the wait. The delay wasn't punishment. It was God's way of making sure your rise would last. You were hidden for a reason. Chosen one. There's been a cloak over your life, a covering you couldn't explain, while others were seen, celebrated, promoted. You were passed over. Not once, not twice, but repeatedly. You tried to make sense of it, tried to fit in, tried to show up fully, hoping someone would finally recognize the weight you carried. And when they didn't, it felt like invisibility was your curse. But it was never a curse. It was protection. You weren't hidden because you were unworthy. You were hidden because your calling was too costly to be exposed prematurely. God did not forget you. He shielded you. Like a seed planted deep underground. Your growth wasn't visible, but it was violent beneath the surface. Roots were taking hold. Pressure was building. And now, you are beginning to break through. Exodus 3:22 captures the mystery of your life. When my glory passes by, I will put you in a cleft in the rock and cover you with my hand until I have passed by. You were covered by his hand, not hidden from destiny, but hidden in it. The seasons where no one called, the moments when your gifts were ignored, the environments that never celebrated your fire, they all created a divine silence that formed depth. While others were running in circles of visibility, you were rooted in a classroom called obscurity, and heaven was your only teacher. Now it's becoming clear. The delay wasn't just about time, it was about timing. You were being prepared for a release that would not require introduction. When God uncovers you, it doesn't need human endorsement. He doesn't need you to network your way into rooms. He opens the heavens, and what has been concealed will be revealed in power. Think of David, a king hidden in fields, overlooked by his father, forgotten by his brothers. But when God called him out, there was no debate. The oil wouldn't flow on anyone else, because what is yours waits for you. That's your story too. The rooms that ignored you were never your assignment. The titles they withheld weren't meant for you. You weren't born to be acknowledged by man. You were marked by God. And when He hides you, He hides all of you. Your voice, your anointing, your movement. Not because He's punishing you, but because the enemy studies what's exposed. Your silence wasn't absence, it was strategy. It was heaven's way of saying, not yet. They're not ready. Protect what's growing. You didn't get stuck. You got shielded. And now, your spirit knows something is shifting. You feel the discomfort of old garments tightening. You sense that your season of silence is ending. But even now, you hesitate. Because you've grown familiar with the background, with the shadows, with the hidden place. And still God says, step forward. Luke 12:2-3 reminds us, there is nothing concealed that will not be disclosed, or hidden that will not be made known. That includes you. What's been buried will break forth. What's been dismissed will now be discovered. But it won't be about you. It will be through you. Your emergence won't be loud, but it will be undeniable. The light that hits your life now won't just expose you, it will reveal Him in you. And those who used to walk past you won't recognize the version heaven has unveiled, because you are not who they thought you were. You never were. This is why certain connections couldn't last, why relationships didn't hold. You weren't being rejected, you were being reserved. God couldn't let the wrong people witness the full release of your anointing. He couldn't let familiar hands touch a sacred fire. You were set apart for a time such as this. Isaiah 49:2 captures it perfectly. He made my mouth like a sharpened sword. In the shadow of His hand He hid me. He made me into a polished arrow and concealed me in His quiver. A polished arrow. Hidden, not forgotten, not neglected, but waiting for the divine moment when your release would hit with accuracy and force. So, don't despise the seasons of invisibility. Don't wish away the time when no one called your name. That was the forge. That was the sanctuary. That was where God became real, not as a sermon, but as a friend. Now, the time is near. The shadows are lifting. And who you are, who you've always been, is about to be revealed. You were hidden for a reason. Now you'll be revealed for His. This is a war over your yes. Chosen one. Everything you're facing right now, the fatigue, the confusion, the sudden resistance, it's not about your talent, your resources, or even your reputation. It's about your obedience. Hell doesn't launch full-scale attacks over potential. It only moves when someone is about to move in obedience. This is not a war for your gifts. It's a war for your yes. Because your yes is dangerous. When you say yes to God, systems shift. Generational curses start to crack. Atmospheres tremble. Assignments are released. Heaven mobilizes around your agreement, and hell scrambles to stop it. That's why the distractions have increased. That's why confusion suddenly clouded your vision, because your surrender sends shockwaves into the spirit realm. Genesis 22:18 says, "Through your offspring, all nations on earth will be blessed, because you have obeyed me." Abraham's legacy was sealed not by perfection, but by obedience. And your legacy, too, is about to touch nations not because you have it all figured out, but because you're willing to say, "Yes, Lord." But the cost of obedience isn't small. Saying yes means walking away from comfort. It means risking misunderstanding. It means giving God access to your plans and permission to wreck them if they don't align with His. That's what terrifies the enemy, not just your passion, but your posture. You've been battling confusion because the enemy fears your clarity. He's sent distractions to dilute your direction. He's tried to entice you with lesser paths, paths that look holy but are still rooted in compromise. But your yes, your full, wholehearted, radical yes, it's a declaration of warfare. You've stood at the edge of obedience before. You've come close, but something always pulls you back: fear, logic, timelines, voice. And now, heaven is saying, decide again. Because this time, your yes carries not just your breakthrough, it carries others. Romans 5:19 says, "For just as through the disobedience of the one man the many were made sinners, so also through the obedience of the one man the many will be made righteous." One obedient heart can shift the lives of many. That's the kind of yes you're holding. But obedience doesn't come wrapped in applause. It often looks like loss, like walking away from familiar things, releasing control, stepping out into what feels like fog. It's uncomfortable, but it's also holy, because every step of obedience leaves a trail of fire for others to follow. This is why your yes is under attack. It's not just about today, it's about the generations behind you. It's about the people watching silently, waiting for your courage to unlock their own. Your obedience is their permission. You may not realize it yet, but someone's freedom is tied to your surrender. That dream that won't die, that vision you can't shake. It's more than inspiration. It's instruction. God is not asking for your ability, He's asking for your availability. He'll bring the power, you bring the yes. Philippians 2:13 affirms this. For it is God who works in you, to will and to act, in order to fulfill His good purpose. So if the resistance has been loud, it's because your next yes is loaded, and heaven is waiting. This is your line in the sand moment. No more delays. No more hesitation. No more half-hearted prayers. Say yes with your whole life. Yes with your habits. Yes with your schedule. Yes with your decisions. You don't need to feel qualified. You just need to be willing. And if this word pierced through your hesitation, if your spirit is burning with clarity right now, comment below. I will obey. A whisper in the earth that becomes a roar in heaven. You must stay spiritually connected. Chosen one. Now that your spirit has been stirred and your path is unfolding, there's one crucial instruction you cannot overlook. Stay connected. The flow of revelation, protection, and divine strategy is not a one-time moment. It is a continuous alignment. And that alignment is your lifeline. What's been released over you isn't light. It's not hype. It's not emotion. It's a mantle. And mantles require maintenance. You didn't just receive a word. You stepped into a dimension. One that hell is already aware of. One that will demand new discipline, new clarity, and yes, new connection. John 15:5 captures this perfectly. I am the vine, you are the branches. If you remain in me, and I in you, you will bear much fruit. Apart from me, you can do nothing. That verse is not poetic. It's a survival map. The moment you disconnect from the vine, the fruit stops. The clarity fades. The power dissipates. And the enemy knows this, which is why one of his favorite tactics is isolation. Not just physical, but spiritual. He wants you to feel like you don't need teaching, like you can figure it out alone. But that's not spiritual maturity, that's spiritual vulnerability. The instructions you're receiving here are part of a divine pattern, layer upon layer, brick upon brick. Every section of this message is helping to construct a foundation under your next season. And once you've tasted clarity at this level, you can't afford to go back to confusion. You must stay under what's feeding you. There's a spiritual principle at work. Where you are planted, you will prosper. But where you drift, you will dry up. God is not raising lone wolves. He's raising a remnant connected warriors who know how to flow together, war together, and rise together. That's why staying spiritually aligned is not optional, it's essential. Romans 17 reminds us, so faith comes from hearing, and hearing through the word of Christ. Not having heard, hearing. It's active, it's ongoing. That means this isn't the last word you need, it's the current word you're required to respond to. And more is coming, because heaven is still speaking. But will you stay where the sound is flowing? If this message has awakened your spirit, if your heart has been pounding with clarity, confirmation, and conviction, do not disconnect. This channel isn't a media stream. It's a prophetic altar, a delivery system for divine instruction to the ones who are chosen. So take action. Stay close. Like this message, share this message, and subscribe to this channel. Not as a formality, as a declaration. I know where the oil is flowing, and I will remain under the pour. Because the oil never runs dry in a connected vessel. You've seen what spiritual wandering costs. The confusion, the doubt, the silence. But staying connected to the source that awakens your purpose, that reminds you of your crown, is life-giving. And this flow is not accidental. Heaven is speaking because your spirit is ready to receive. Not just once, but consistently. Don't underestimate the spiritual importance of showing up again and again, of feeding your spirit, of staying tethered to truth. Because every time you lean in, the enemy loses leverage. Think of it this way. Your body needs daily nourishment. Your spirit is no different. And when your spirit is well fed, discernment sharpens, strength increases, obedience deepens. You begin to move differently, speak differently, carry yourself with quiet authority that no platform or popularity can produce. Staying spiritually connected protects you from subtle deception, from drifting into motivational noise, from consuming watered-down content that soothes emotions but never activates your call. What you're part of here is a remnant rising, and the instructions being released are not generic, they're surgical, tailored, timed, targeted, because heaven knows exactly what you're about to face, and it's equipping you in advance. Proverbs 4:20-22 says, "My son, pay attention to what I say, turn your ear to my words. Do not let them out of your sight, for they are life to those who find them, and health to one's whole body." This is life. This is health. This is spiritual strategy in real time. Don't treat it casually. Don't scroll past and forget. Make a decision today. I will stay connected. I will protect the poor. I will remain under instruction. Because what's coming next will require more than hype. It will require hearing. And the ones who endure will be the ones who are aligned. So again, if this is your well, draw from it often. If this is your altar, guard it. If this is your source of direction, don't walk away when comfort calls. Like this message, share it, and subscribe. Not because I need numbers, but because you need nourishment. The world may never understand what you're carrying, but heaven knows, and heaven is speaking. Stay where the sound is clear. Stay where your soul catches fire. Stay where God is forming warriors. Because this isn't just a channel, it's your confirmation. Rejection was redirection. Chosen one. Every time they walked away, every silence, every closed door, every unanswered message, it felt like a cut. You carried those moments like wounds, and for a while, you believed what they left unsaid. You weren't enough. But heaven saw the whole story. And what felt like rejection was actually divine redirection. God was not allowing you to be discarded. He was steering you. Proverbs 16:9 says, "In their hearts, humans plan their course, but the Lord establishes their steps." You had plans, good ones, noble ones. You wanted community, loyalty, honor, but not everyone who clapped for you was called to cover you. Some came for the light, not for the battle, and when the fire increased, they disappeared, not because you were too much, but because they were not enough to walk where you're headed. That hurt was real, but it was also necessary. You would have compromised your mantle to keep hands that didn't have the oil to hold it. God is too wise to let the wrong ones stay. Every relationship that didn't work out, every opportunity that slipped through, every connection that felt perfect until it wasn't, it all had one hidden thread: divine protection. And yes, it's hard to see that in the moment. When silence echoes and loneliness settles, it feels like punishment. But look again. You didn't You didn't break. You were redirected. You are still standing. Stronger, sharper, more discerning, because pain has a way of teaching what comfort never could. Psalm 34:18 says, "The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit." You weren't left alone, you were drawn closer. Every abandonment pushed you nearer to the altar. Every betrayal turned your face back to heaven. And through it all, God was speaking. That wasn't rejection. That was my hand pulling you out before it broke you. See it clearly now. Not everyone is equipped to walk beside fire. Some only come for the warmth, not the warfare. Some were only meant to be part of your beginning, not your becoming. God saw where their compromise would have cost you your crown, so he ended it early to preserve the promise. You didn't lose people. You lost distractions. It's painful, yes, but it's also prophetic, because every person who left created room for the right ones to enter. Every hand that released you made space for heaven to grip you tighter. And now, you're no longer looking for validation from voices that were never assigned to affirm you. What is for you will not leave you. What is meant to stay will not abandon you at the edge of breakthrough. That closed door was not the end, it was the preservation of your future. So let go. Not with bitterness, not with offense, but with clarity. God used their departure to awaken something in you that comfort never could. And what's coming next doesn't require their applause, only your alignment. There's a shift in your posture now. You're no longer begging for belonging. You've seen the pattern. Those who are not rooted in him cannot handle someone who is. They left because your anointing started to shine through. They pulled back because they sensed your obedience was about to cost too much. But you kept walking. Luke 6:22 says, "Blessed are you when people hate you, when they exclude you and insult you and reject your name as evil, because of the Son of Man. You are blessed, not broken, not discarded, blessed, because what they called unworthy, heaven called chosen. What they labeled too much, God called necessary. What they rejected was never meant for them to carry. So lift your head. Not everyone is meant to go where God is taking you. And that's not a loss, that's mercy. You are no longer mourning what heaven removed. You are moving in clarity, in peace, in alignment. The grief has served its purpose. And now you walk forward, not with wounds, but with wisdom. Because rejection didn't end you, it preserved you. Your bloodline is crying out for change. Chosen one, this is bigger than you. The warfare, the weariness, the weight, it didn't start with you, but it must end with you. You felt it in your bones. There's something ancient pressing through your life, something generational, something unspoken yet deeply familiar. And that something is the cry of your bloodline, begging for deliverance. You were born into cycles that never belonged to you, patterns that kept repeating, mentalities soaked in fear, scarcity, addiction, silence. You looked around growing up and knew this isn't how it's supposed to be. Even without language, your spirit recognized the spiritual poverty around you, but you weren't sent to mimic it. You were sent to interrupt it. Exodus 3:9 says, "And now the cry of the Israelites has reached me, and I have seen the way the Egyptians are oppressing them." Heaven hears the cry of bondage, but this time, it didn't just respond with comfort. It responded by sending you. You weren't just chosen to shine. You were chosen to break things, to stand at the mouth of generational dysfunction and say, "It stops here." And that's not poetic, it's prophetic. Because you're not fighting for your survival. You're fighting for freedom. Freedom for those behind you. Freedom for the ones who never had a voice. Freedom for future generations who will never taste what you had to swallow. That's why your battles felt so deep, so irrational, so intense. Because you weren't just confronting your issues, you were confronting ancestral agreements, broken covenants, family altars built in ignorance. You've been dragging your bloodline out of darkness with every yes, every prayer, every decision to walk a path your parents couldn't see. And it's working. You are not the same. The atmosphere around you has shifted. The things that once entangled you now make you restless. The compromises that others tolerate now make you nauseous. That's the fruit of transformation. Not comfort, but conviction. 2 Corinthians 5:17 reminds us, "Therefore, if anyone is in Christ, the new creation has come. The old has gone. The new is here." That's not just personal, it's generational. The new begins with you. You've been anointed to carry what others dropped. Where others were silenced, you speak. Where they settled, you rise. Where they conformed, you break rank. You are not rebellious, you are reformational. And reformers always look out of place in the places they've been sent to rebuild. This is why the enemy attacks your mind. Because if he can't stop your bloodline shift, he'll try to make you question it. He'll tell you you're being dramatic, that this is just how it is, that you should settle, compromise, conform. But your spirit won't let you. There's a sound inside you louder than culture, louder than comfort, louder than generational excuses. It says, there must be more, there must be freedom, and there is. Galatians 3:29 declares, if you belong to Christ, then you are Abraham's seed, and heirs according to the promise. That means you carry inheritance, not just struggle, not just trauma. You are not called to survive the family line, you are called to redeem it, to restore it. To build altars of obedience where altars of disobedience once stood. Your obedience is building something your grandchildren will walk on. Every time you say no to what broke those before you, you're building a spiritual highway for those who come after. And yes, it's lonely. Yes, it's heavy. Yes, it's slow. But you weren't born for speed. You were born for impact. This is not about applause. No one may ever fully see what you're undoing in the spirit. But heaven sees, and the fruit will speak. Even if your name never gets mentioned. You're not building a brand. You're building legacy. And legacy doesn't begin with praise. It begins with pain. With choosing obedience when compromise feels easier. With saying yes to God when your emotions scream no. With letting go of comfort so that others can be free. Romans 21 offers this vision. The creation itself will be liberated from its bondage to decay and brought into the freedom and glory of the children of God. This is what your bloodline is groaning for. Not perfection, not performance, liberation. And you are the answer to that groan. So, keep going, keep breaking, keep choosing righteousness over reputation, keep fasting when no one claps, keep praying when the room is silent, keep choosing integrity when it costs you. Because you're not just carrying personal destiny, you're carrying prophetic lineage. And if your spirit agrees, if you know deep within that the curse ends with you, type 999 in the comments. It's not just a number. It's a prophetic act that says, the cycle ends here. I step into generational freedom, and when the dust settles, the history books of heaven will record, here ended the curse. Here began the blessing. You're not who they think you are. Chosen one. People have seen glimpses of you, fragments, reflections, moments, but they haven't seen the full you. And some never will. Because what you carry isn't just misunderstood, it's divinely hidden. The version they commented on, criticized, or tried to confine. That was your camouflage. God allowed certain parts of you to remain unseen. Why? To protect the weight of what's within you. Because the real you, the one heaven called, mantled, refined, is a spiritual force that would have attracted warfare before you were ready. So instead, you moved through life wearing quiet layers, adapting, surviving, observing. You didn't shrink out of fear, you concealed out of wisdom. And in doing so, you learned things few understand. How to discern spirits in silence. How to carry presence without platform. How to walk like royalty without needing a throne. 1 Samuel 16:7 reminds us, the Lord does not look at the things people look at. People look at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart, and He saw yours. While others misjudged your quiet as weakness, God saw it as strategy. While some confused your boundaries for pride, He called it protection. You weren't withdrawn, you were consecrated. This is why you didn't click with everyone. Why rooms felt small. Why relationships strained. Because people tried to define a version of you based on outdated data. They tried to hold you to your history while God was ushering you into destiny. You're not who they remember. You're not even who you were last year. What's happening inside of you isn't improvement, it's transformation. Romans 2 says, do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. That's the work God has been doing in the background. You've been renewing, realigning, reforming, silently shedding old skins. breaking old mentalities, stepping out of cycles that used to define you. And now, you're starting to emerge, not with explanation, but with evidence. People won't understand it. Some will resist it. They'll try to pull you back into patterns you've already buried. They'll act confused when your silence no longer equals compliance. But you don't owe them access to a version of you that no longer exists. Your responsibility isn't to be understood, it's to be obedient. You weren't called to convince, you were called to carry, and what you carry now has weight, authority, heaven's signature. You don't need validation to confirm it. The fruit will speak. The favor will reveal it. The fire in your life will make it undeniable. And here's the truth. Some people will always prefer the version of you that played small, because that version made them feel safe, familiar, comfortable. But the real you, the rising you, the anointed, fire-bearing, unbothered you, that version demands response. Don't let their limited vision shrink your unfolding. Isaiah 43, speaks clearly. Forget the former things. Do not dwell on the past. See, I am doing a new thing. The new thing is you. This is not reinvention. This is revelation. You're not changing, you're being revealed. And everything that doesn't align with that unveiling must fall away. Some will walk away. Let them. Some will question your shift. Don't explain it. Some will resist your authority. Don't chase their approval. Your clarity is louder than your apology. Chosen one, God didn't place all of this inside you for it to remain contained. He's been crafting you in secret, speaking to you in wilderness, training your hands for battle behind closed doors. And now, the doors are creaking open. You've outgrown old frameworks, outpaced old opinions, outlasted old labels. And what's coming next doesn't require you to shrink to make others comfortable. You are no longer the version of you that sought to please. You are walking in purpose. So walk, without explanation, without delay, without looking back to see who understands. Because your steps are not just movement, they are fulfillment. You're not who they think you are. You're who God knows you are. And that's more than enough. The door is opening suddenly. Chosen one. After all the silence, all the pressing, all the waiting, you're standing on the edge of a moment that will not come with warning. Heaven doesn't always send advance notice for breakthrough. Sometimes, the door doesn't creak, it swings. And that door is about to open. You've felt the atmosphere shift, the quiet heaviness, the spiritual restlessness. You couldn't name it, but you knew. Something was building. You've walked through long seasons where nothing moved. And now, suddenly, everything is shifting at once. The favor is coming fast. The clarity is coming clear. And the opportunities are no longer trickling, they're rushing. Isaiah 22 says, "What he opens, no one can shut. And what he shuts, no one can open." This isn't a door made by man. This isn't a system opening up because of your credentials or your charisma. This is heaven's response to your obedience. A divine opening reserved for those who stood when everything said to sit down. A door made by the same hand that formed your bones. It's not opening because you're lucky. It's opening because you're ready. Not perfect, but positioned. Not flawless, but faithful. And this opening won't be slow. It won't come with a long explanation. It will happen without warning. And you'll know, this is it. The conversations will change. The invitations will increase. The visibility will rise. But don't let any of that distract you. The door isn't about exposure, it's about assignment. You're not being seen for applause. You're being positioned for impact. And impact demands discernment. Just because the door opens doesn't mean everything behind it is meant for you. That's why God had to develop your ears before He expanded your reach. Because when the sudden comes, only those who are anchored will know how to walk through wisely. This door isn't random. It's specific. It has your name, your calling, your timing woven into its hinges. And it's not just for you, it's for everyone. Your obedience will touch. Habakkuk 2:3 says, "For the revelation awaits an appointed time. It speaks of the end and will not prove false. Though it linger, wait for it, it will certainly come and will not delay." That delay you thought disqualified you. It was the space for maturity. That silence you mistook for rejection. It was the chamber where your voice was being trained. And now that the time has come, nothing can hold back what has been ordained. Don't rush through the opening. Walk with reverence. The faster the door swings, the deeper your posture must become, not in fear, but in focus. Because this door will require more from you than the previous ones. Not more performance, but more presence, more prayer, more purity of intention. Because what's behind this door is holy ground. You've been entrusted, not just released. And this isn't a repeat. This isn't a next chance. This is a new thing. You won't have to manipulate to get in. You won't have to fight for validation. What's opening is yours because He willed it, not because you forced it. So watch your posture. Not everyone will be able to celebrate what opens for you. Some will be confused. Some will be critical. Let them talk. Your job isn't to explain your elevation, it's to steward it. And it won't be small. This isn't an invitation to the outer courts. This is the door to inner access. Not just visibility, but influence. Not just titles, but territory. You're being given ground not to boast, but to build. Doors that were sealed to others will yield to your presence, not because of who you are, but because of who sent you. And when it opens, when the moment comes, you'll feel the release in your spirit before you see it in the natural. That's the sudden, and when it comes, nothing will stop it. This door is not a reward. It is a responsibility, and you're ready. You've been tempered in delay, trained in silence, refined in obscurity. And now, chosen one. The door is opening. Suddenly, glory will follow your story. Chosen one. Your life has not been easy. The roads you've walked, the betrayals you've survived, the losses you've endured, none of it has been wasted. Every trial was a brick. Every tear was a tool. Every hidden battle was building something eternal. You were not being broken. You were being built for glory. Romans 8:18 says, "I consider that our present sufferings are not worth comparing with the glory that will be revealed in us." The story isn't over. In fact, it's just beginning. And the parts that nearly destroyed you, they will become the very evidence that God was with you all along. He is not just restoring what was lost, He's transforming what was broken into glory. You won't come out of this the same. You'll come out radiant, refined, crowned. Yes, crowned. That's what heaven has been preparing. Not just recovery, but royalty. You've suffered like a servant, but you will rise like a ruler, not because of your striving, but because of your surrender. The crown doesn't come to the proud, it rests on the ones who never let go of the cross. Your story is about to shine with a weight of glory that cannot be faked or replicated. People will look at you and not see talent first. They'll see testimony. They'll feel presence. They'll sense heaven. Because you will not speak from theory, you will speak from fire. And the fire has marked you. Zechariah 13:9 says, I will refine them like silver and test them like gold. They will call on my name, and I will answer them. That's your story. Refined, tested, answered. You've called on him in the night, in the waiting, in the wandering, and now he answers you with glory. But glory isn't applause. It's not fame. It's not followers. Glory is weight. The weight of divine presence on an ordinary life. And when it settles, everything changes. Atmospheres shift. Words carry power. Silence carries conviction. Because you're not just speaking, you're walking in oil. And the glory that's coming won't just rest on you for a moment. It will flow through your life like a river. It will touch your family, your work, your assignments. Everything attached to you will feel the residue of what God poured out in private. Don't be surprised when people come to you, not for your advice, but for your presence. Don't be surprised when rooms grow quiet when you enter, not because of fear, but because they sense something holy. You carry glory now. Quiet, heavy, real. But don't isolate. Don't go silent now. If you felt this word burn inside you, if something deep within is saying, "This is me," then this is your confirmation. You are the one glory was waiting for. Let's keep walking together. Like this message, not just as support, but as spiritual agreement. Share it, because someone else needs to feel what you just felt. Subscribe. Stay connected to this prophetic river. There's more coming. Comment, "Yes, I am ready." Say it out loud with your fingers. Let heaven record it. Let hell hear it. You are not just surviving, you are becoming. Becoming an answer. Becoming an atmosphere. Becoming a glory carrier. And all of it was written into your story before the pain, before the fall, before the wilderness. You were chosen not just to suffer, but to shine. And now, glory will follow your story. Heaven will fund what you birth. Chosen one. The vision inside you isn't too big, it's perfectly timed. The ideas you carry, the dreams that won't die, the whispers that keep pressing on your heart, even when the doors seem shut, those are not yours alone. They were seeded by heaven. And what heaven initiates, heaven funds. You've wondered, how will I afford it? Where will the resources come from? Who will support this? But those are earthbound questions for a heaven-sent assignment. God never asked you to finance what He authored. He asked you to trust, to move, to birth it. Psalm 50:10-11 reminds us, "For every animal of the forest is mine, and the cattle on 1,000 hills. I know every bird in the mountains, and the insects in the fields are mine." This is not a scarcity kingdom. God is not checking your bank account before releasing His blueprint. He's checking your obedience. Because heaven doesn't release provision for your comfort, it releases provision for your purpose. That's why the resources didn't come when you were just dreaming. They come when you begin building. The delay in provision wasn't punishment, it was preservation. God didn't want you wasting heaven's funding on something half-formed. Now that you've been refined, realigned, and rooted in clarity, the windows are opening. Not just drops, but flows. Not just opportunities, but supply. The provision may not look like what you expect. It might not come in a lump sum. It might show up as people, favor, open doors, hidden connections. But it will come because what God births through you, He backs. This is not about prosperity for ego. It's about empowerment for assignment. What's coming into your hands is for the vision, not the image. You're not being resourced to impress. You're being equipped to impact. 2 Corinthians 9:8 says, "And God is able to bless you abundantly, so that in all things at all times, having all that you need, you will abound in every good work." That's the goal. Good work. Not busy work. Not prideful work. Not frantic effort, trying to prove something, but fruitful labor, birthed in intimacy, driven by conviction, covered by grace. You don't need to manipulate, strive, or chase. Heaven knows what you need, and the more you stay in alignment, the more clearly you'll see the stream of support opening up, not just financially, but relationally, emotionally, strategically. This is the season where you'll realize you were never underfunded. You were being trained to trust, because trust is the currency of kingdom release. And now, you've proven it in the dark, in the delay, in the silence, and God is releasing what's required, not for your survival, but for your sending. Exodus 36:5-6 captures this rare moment. The people are bringing more than enough for doing the work the Lord commanded to be done, and the people were restrained from bringing more. That's what happens when heaven funds the mission. The overflow becomes undeniable, not because of manipulation, but because the anointing attracts. So prepare, not just to dream, but to develop, not just to envision, but to execute. The plans that once seemed too big will now feel possible. The things you shelved in fear will rise again with clarity. And this time, you will have what you need. Not everything you're called to build will make sense to others. And it doesn't have to. What matters is that it's rooted in the Spirit, not ego. If it's from God, it will carry the scent of peace, not pressure. The vision isn't too expensive. It's too holy to be rushed. And now, because you've waited, refined, and surrendered, God says, I will provide. You're becoming an atmosphere shifter, chosen one. There is a noticeable change in the way you walk into spaces now. It's not just your appearance, it's your presence. What once blended in now stands out, not by effort, but by essence. You've crossed into a realm where your very existence disrupts complacency, challenges comfort, and ignites awareness. You're not just a believer, you're a shifter of spiritual climates. You carry something, not on your clothes, not in your words, but deep in your spirit, and that something speaks louder than explanation. People feel it. They don't always know what it is, but they react. Some lean in, some draw back, but no one walks away untouched, because the atmosphere is no longer safe for darkness when you're present. Jesus said in Matthew 5, "See, you are the light of the world. A town built on a hill cannot be hidden." That is what you've become, unhideable, not by choice, but by calling. You are light that reveals, light that warms, light that unsettles shadows. This isn't about volume or charisma. Some of the greatest atmosphere shifters walk in silence. But when they enter, something begins to stir. That's who you are becoming. And not by force, but by formation. You were made for this. This is the result of the crushing, the refining, the realignment. You didn't choose this mantle. It grew over your shoulders while you were kneeling in secret. You're not being given a microphone. You're being given spiritual weight. Ezekiel 36:27 says, "And I will put my spirit in you and move you to follow my decrees and be careful to keep my laws." That spirit inside you now walks into boardrooms, classrooms, living rooms, and shifts what's unseen. This is why you've been feeling increased sensitivity. It's not emotional fragility, it's prophetic sensitivity. You're not overwhelmed, you're receiving signals. And with that awareness comes responsibility. Your words carry weight now. Casual conversations now cause conviction. What you tolerate sets the tone. What you release becomes a standard. You're not just reacting to atmospheres, you are shaping them. This is sacred, and it requires more than inspiration. It requires integrity. Because what you carry isn't light to be flaunted, it's light to be stewarded. You are a temple, not a display. A vessel, not a celebrity. Heaven didn't give you this influence for attention. It gave it to you for alignment. You're going to walk into rooms that feel cold and feel them warm before a word is spoken. You'll stand in broken spaces and peace will enter. Not because of you, but because of what walks with you. Glory walks with you now. Not as a feeling, but as a function. Chosen one. This is your coronation. Not in the way the world does it. Not with fanfare and music, but with a subtle shift that even darkness recognizes. That one has changed. That one carries something different. You're not who you were when this journey began. You've been trained in silence, sharpened in waiting, hidden in pain. And now, you are rising not with noise, but with authority. Heaven has released more than angels. Heaven has released a mantle, and it's resting on you. The earth is groaning. The systems are trembling. People are hungry. And into that chaos, God is sending you. You are no longer waiting for an atmosphere to change before you move. You are the change. And everywhere you go, light goes too. Because you, chosen one, are now an atmosphere shifter. Chosen one. You've made it to the end, but really, this is the beginning. You've walked through fire and mystery, through prophecy and pressure, through silence and summoning. And now, you stand fully aware. You are chosen. You are appointed. You are not who the world said you were. You are who heaven wrote about. What you carry is holy. What you birth will be generational. What you overcome will set others free. From this moment forward, nothing remains the same. The angels have been released. Your name has been called. The time of hiding is over. The delay has served its purpose. The door is opening, and glory will follow you. Let this be a marker in your life. The moment the doubt broke, the confusion lifted, the clarity came. You will never again question your assignment. You've heard heaven. You've felt the fire. And you've responded. So what now? Stay connected. Stay under the pour. Stay aligned. There's more coming. Prophetic flow. Strategic instruction. Holy fire. And you need to be in position to receive it. If this word has stirred something deep in you, don't let it pass like any other moment. Respond. Mark it. Move with it. Tap like if this confirmed what your spirit already sensed. Share this message. Someone else is starving for the same clarity. Subscribe to stay aligned with what heaven is still unfolding. Drop a comment below. Mantled and moving. Let the realm of darkness know you're not shrinking. You're stepping forward with authority, with clarity, with fire. This is not entertainment. This is equipping. This is not just a video. This is a visitation. And it came for you. You're not alone. You're not too late. You're not disqualified. You're chosen. You're crowned. You're called. The earth has been waiting. Heaven has made its move. And now so must you. Welcome to the front lines.